Retro.
Are you an aspiring Jedi, or do you dabble with the dark side of the Force?
Regardless of whether you fancy yourself a defender of the light or an aspiring Sith Lord, you're going to need a lightsaber.
Podcast Stardust is pleased to partner with Saber Masters, the creators of high-quality, durable, and affordable lightsabers.
Saber Masters is preparing to launch the Ultimate Lightsaber 2.0, and right now you can get 2 for the price of 1.
So, check out the link in our show notes and go get your Ultimate Lightsabers from Saber Masters.
And don't forget to use our referral code Stardust to save $10 at checkout.
And each purchase using our referral code helps support Podcast Stardust.
Hi, this is Claudia Gray, the author of several Star Wars books, and you are listening to Dennis and Jay on Podcast Stardust. May the Force be with you.
Welcome to Podcast Stardust. This is the fully armed and operational podcast dedicated to Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. I'm Dennis Keithley.
And I'm Jay Krebs.
And this episode was a complete surprise to Jay up until about 2 seconds ago. But we're going to be getting into some Star Wars trivia, particularly regarding the Phantom Menace. But before we do that, Jay, where can we be found around the internet?
We are very easily found on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Podcast Stardust. No trivia there.
All right. The dish is aligned, the signal's boosted to maximum output, the shield is down, and we are now broadcasting to the galaxy. So if you've been listening to our last few episodes, you know that we've got some vacation going on, and so we've been recording some episodes in advance, and this is one of them. And so we've been doing our monthly series on the Phantom Menace. You can go back to January, February, March, and April and May and find episodes that cover roughly about a 10-minute span of the movie with our guests. But while I was creating those notes, I also started collecting trivia questions. And in this episode, we're at least going to go through the trivia questions that I have from part 1. So our January episode, which ran from the beginning of the movie to 10 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm putting you on the spot, Jay.
Yay, I like
Thanks for being a good sport.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Some of these I know you're going to know. Some of them are a bit more difficult. Question number 1. True or false? The word Senate does not appear in the opening crawl of the Phantom Menace.
False.
That is actually true. They used the word Congress in
Oh.
the opening crawl. And we did discuss that with Alan Voivod back in that first episode. But I was actually writing this trivia question that made me think of it to start this entire thing in the first place.
Nice.
Okay. So question number 2.
I'm failing.
Oh, no. Look, some of these are not going to be easy. Don't worry about it. Some of them you'll definitely
I
get.
like the challenge.
Yeah. What is the designation of the protocol droid that greets Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on the Trade Federation battleship?
Is it PZ? No, that's not PZ. It's it's like a C-3PO.
Yeah.
I don't know.
TC-14.
TC-14. Okay.
Yeah. PZ is a droid from the sequel trilogy.
Yes. And I believe isn't that the one that helped out with Leia?
Yes. That big blue looking droid.
Mm-hmm. See, why do I know that? But I can't think of that one.
Hey, PZ does rhyme with TC. So you're on your way there.
Well, thank you for being so generous. I appreciate it.
So question number 3. And we're getting through these a lot faster than I thought. We're barely 30 minutes into the show. That's all right. Now, these are not going to be super long episodes. Who is the first person to say, I have a bad feeling about this? In the
Obi-Wan. I know that one.
Correct.
Yes, because I was sitting there when we were watching it again in the theater. And as soon as he said that, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, like that's perfect, because I was putting myself in my 1999 kind of self, trying to remember what it was like to feel like I was watching it for that first time.
Mhm.
And I do remember thinking even back then that, oh my gosh, Obi-Wan just said the line. So yay, I got one.
Right. Yeah. And then in a follow up to that, what part of the Force did Qui-Gon tell Obi-Wan he should be mindful of?
The living force.
Right. Yeah. So that's that whole conversation. Obi-Wan
Yes.
pops out and says he's got a bad feeling about this. And Obi-Wan tells him not to center on his anxieties, keep his attention focused on the here and now, be mindful of the living force. And, Obi-Wan responds and Qui-Gon also says, I don't sense anything. And Obi-Wan's response is, it's not here. It's somewhere else, something elusive.
Elusive. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And what is ironic as well is that when I was watching it this time, I thought about our conversation because there was the living force and the cosmic force. And then we've had plenty of conversations about what we think is the difference between the two. And then there's also that quote in there as well. And I hope I'm not spoiling any of your trivia questions by saying this, but I used to have a Star Wars quote of the day in my
Mm-hmm.
classroom. And so I would pull out different things from everywhere, the movies and the books and, and. And so the one quote that Qui-Gon said that you just alluded to was, um, when Obi-Wan says, I have a bad feeling about this. And he says, keep your attention here and now where it belongs. And then Obi-Wan says, but I thought Master Yoda said to be mindful of the future. And Qui-Gon says, yes, but not at the expense of the moment.
Right.
So that's definitely one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. It says a lot about Qui-Gon as well.
Definitely.
Okay, so I haven't been keeping score. You got 2 right at this point.
Yeah, I did. I'm
Okay.
still at 50%. I got to redeem myself here.
Okay. Who does Darth Sidious refer to as stunted slime?
Oh, Dalte Dauphine.
Very good. I thought
Thank
for
you.
sure that one was going to trip you up because he's not named anywhere in this movie.
No, he's not. But we had a Star Wars trivia saga game. I don't know. You probably had this one as well. That was the one with the DVDs that you would put in, and then you would get to pick the different planets. Did you have this one to go to?
I think I've actually played it in the past, but I don't think I actually ever owned it.
Okay. Yeah. Colby One and I were going to play it on May the 4th when we ran out of time. Might have to do that today. But anyways, for whatever reason, Dalte Dauphine's name comes up like 17,000 times in that trivia game.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't know why it just always stuck with me. And I don't know if you realize too. Oh, this was another thing that I realized when I was watching in the theater was that he ends up sitting and sulking like off to the side at
Yeah.
one point. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did.
Oh my, he's just like sitting there like, meh.
Yeah, I'm impressed that you knew that one
Well, thank
because
you.
I kind of knew the name, but when we were watching that portion of the movie for our discussion in January, I could not come up with it and I had to go look it up. So the fact that you knew, I had prepared multiple choice answers for you. A, New Gunray, B, Rune Heiko, C, Dot, or D, Dalte Define. And you got it. So without me having to even give the multiple choice.
Nice.
With that being said, I'm going to
Well,
give the next trivia question, and I am going to give the multiple choice answers so that our listeners playing along at home can try and get it.
I was a little
But
excited that I knew that. Sorry.
no, that's okay. I was going to ask if you even needed them, so no worries. All right, question number 6. What type of gas does the Trade Federation attempt to kill Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon with? A, cyanide, B, Tabana, C, Dioxis, or B, Blue Shadow?
See,
That's correct. C, Dioxis.
Dioxis, which I believe is the same gas that they use, spoiler alert, Bad Batch final, to try to kill the clones as well on Tantus.
Did they? Yeah, because I don't remember them ever naming it, but that would make sense.
It was the same color. That was the only reason that I thought maybe it
Oh,
was.
good point. Very good point. Yeah. Okay. All right. Question number 7. What does Rune Heiko say the Jedi are no match for?
Say that again.
What does Rune Heiko say the Jedi are no match for?
They are no match for their master.
They are no match for droidicas.
Droidicas. That's what it is. Okay, I was pulling that out of my brain pan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Droidicas
Because
are so cool.
the Jedi were there at the entrance to the bridge, and Qui-Gon was sticking his lightsaber in the door to melt it.
Oh, yeah.
And they summoned the droidicas, and then the
You're
Jedi
no
ran
match
off.
for the droidicas.
They're
Yes.
no match for droidicas.
Yes.
So, okay.
All coming back.
Yeah, I think you'll get this next one. Question number 8. What does Obi-Wan say was the one thing Qui-Gon was right about?
The negotiations were short.
Very good. Yes. And they were short indeed. And, I was thinking about this, and we didn't really discuss this too much in that portion of our review, but that's like a perfect thing for Obi-Wan Kenobi to say. That cheekiness that comes out of him and these type of situations. I mean, he's kidding Qui-Gon the same way he would kind of tease Anakin later
Yes.
once they became master and apprentice.
Yes, it's definitely his personality for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Number 9. What film inspired the view screen that the Trade Federation see Amidala on while they are on their battleship?
Is that Flash Gordon?
That's correct.
Yay!
More precisely, Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe from 1940.
Nice. I just remember the Flash Gordon from the 80s with the Queen soundtrack. Flash. Master of the Universe. Oh, God. I watched that movie. Yes. I watched that stinking movie so many times.
Yeah, we may have to do that on the show someday.
Oh, yes, please.
I watched that. As a kid, that was like a regular weekend movie for me. That was fantastic.
Dun, 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 dun. Wow, core memory unlocked.
The Hawkmen and everything in there.
Yes.
All right, we got 3 questions left. This is a relatively short round compared to some of the others, but we are on question 10. Who does Senator Palpatine say gave him assurances that the ambassadors had arrived at Naboo?
The ambassadors had arrived at Naboo. It wouldn't be Valorum.
Actually, it is Valorum.
Is it Valorum? Okay.
The Chancellor gave me assurances. Yes.
I was second guessing myself. I'm like, was it Valorum or was it one of the Separatists? Okay, good. Yay. Go me.
Okay. And then the next question is what does Seobibble say is the only thing that a communications disruption can mean?
Invasion.
Very good. Knew that one wasn't going to be tough.
C.O. Bibble. He's, I don't know. He just seems so nervous. He's the, I don't know. He's always very nervous. But, getting back to Chancellor Valorum, I know this is Legends at this point, but I remember when we reviewed all of the Darth Bane novels, there was even a Chancellor Valorum. So I feel like that was I don't know if it was the same family line that kind of follows all the way up through, kind of like, politicians that follow the family business kind of a thing. Did we ever know if that was, obviously this is canon, but yeah, is there any kind of a correlation between those?
I assumed, one was related to the other, but don't ask me exactly how.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Okay, so the final question for part 1 is, what does Captain Panaka say the Senate would do if the Trade Federation invaded Naboo?
Trade Federation would do. Wait, say that again.
What does Captain Panaka say the Senate would do if the Trade Federation invaded Naboo? More specifically, what would be the consequences if the Trade Federation invaded Naboo?
That it would be illegal and they would basically be brought up on like charges kind of thing.
Something more specific.
I can't remember.
Revoke their trade franchise.
That's what it is. Revoke their trade franchise.
Yeah,
I failed at that one. See, all the political stuff I'm so bad at. Like I can remember names and things like that for the most part, but I'm so bad at that stuff.
If you really got into the rhythm on this, I'm pretty sure you would have got more of these. So, I mean, you got 2/3 of them. You got 8 out of 12. So that's not bad at all.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
2/3 is still like a D though. I can do better.
D's get degrees.
I love that about you, Dennis. Thank you for supporting me.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's too funny. Do you have any other ones that you can think of, like off the top of your head?
Not for that part, just because it's been so long since I sat down and did it. But never fear, I'm going to put you through this ringer again a few more times on our next episode and the one after that.
Yay! I like that.
Okay.
I'm up for it.
All right. So yeah, this is a very quick episode, but again, we're trying to get a lot of these recorded in advance of some scheduled vacation for the beginning of June. We hope you played along. I'd love to hear how you all did on the trivia. If you were able to pick up on some of these, so we'll get to our social media contacts here in a minute, but make sure you pop in and let us know and what you thought about that. And there'll be a few more trivia episodes coming up here as we fill some of our slots before we get back from vacation and we start getting some fresh stuff out there. So again, thank you for joining us on this episode of Podcast Stardust and our discussion of some Phantom Menace trivia. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, hit that subscribe button and you'll get these upcoming episodes downloaded automatically for you. Also, like to remind you can find our entire catalog of shows over on retrozap.com, which is home to several other great podcasts covering everything from the MCU and DC to Dune, Star Trek, and a whole lot more. We are very appreciative of your 5-star ratings and reviews on whatever podcatcher it is that you use to do such things. And we love it when you share the show and your favorite episodes on social media with your friends. So with those things having been said, Jay, you want to remind everybody where we can be found online?
You got it. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Podcast Stardust, very conveniently. We also have a bunch of Pinterest boards and 2 different YouTube outlets where you can catch us on the regular old YouTube as well as YouTube Music. And you can also leave reviews over there as well as on Spotify. So hit us up on one of those outlets. And if you want to tell us how you did in real time, or if you want to try to quiz us in real time, we are on Discord. So we are just one of many different rooms on the RetroZap Discord server. And so if you'd like to join in on that, you can just hit up the link in our show notes. And we also have a TeePublic store, and we have 7 different show logo designs available on all kinds of things from home goods and apparel and pretty much everything in between. So if you want to check that out and pick something up, the link for that will also be in our show notes. And every purchase does help out the show. And another way you can help out the show is by picking up a lightsaber from Saber Master. So if you are in the market for lightsabers, Saber Masters does have some amazing quality lightsabers, and you can get an extra $10 off when you are in your cart and you put in the code Stardust, and that will earn you that extra $10 off, and also once again helps to support the show. So that link will be in our show notes. So other than that, Dennis, why don't you let everybody else know, or everybody know, where else they can find you?
Right. So my wife and I like to talk about Star Trek, and we do that on Warp Trails, which is our RetroZap podcast feed exclusive show. We are covering the Star Trek shows when they are out. And so again, that makes us seasonal. We've been winding up our coverage of season 5 of Discovery and getting ready for the 5th and final season of Lower Decks, which is coming up in a few months. The best place to find past episodes is going to be retrozap.com. But when the episodes are fresh, you can get them on the RetroZap podcast feed. Jay, where can everybody find you and what you do with cosplay?
Absolutely. You can hit me up over on my Instagram, which is at j.snipscosplay. And I'm over there as 2 different versions of Hera, the Fourth Sister, my original concept Mandalorian based on Tahiri Vela, as well as Ahsoka. And you never know what else you're going to find. Sometimes I get a bug in my bonnet and I decide to post some things from the way, way past, or just some closet cosplay as well. So once again, that is at j.snipscosplay.
So normally I'd tell you all about what's coming up on the show right now. But again, since we're recording this in advance, I don't have the schedule down. I'm assuming you're going to get another trivia episode really quickly after this one. So be on the lookout for that. But with that having been said, thanks for listening to this episode of Podcast Stardust. Have a great day. And until next time, may the Force be